Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and this time we're talking about Black Clover. Because of me actually recording the last chapter very late, essentially you're going to see Solo Leveling coming out and this coming out pretty close together. If I'm honest, I'm probably going to release Black Clover first, as it's fresh, and then after that I'll release Solo Leveling, which is late. But without further ado, let's get into this review. It is a bit of a sad one. Yeah, let's get into it. So, the review. It wasn't the most positive chapter, let's just put it that way. So you won't see me being all enthusiastic and whatnot. But I don't want to fake my emotions or fake excitement, because this is one of those chapters that, you know, it really hit the tug on the heartstring. It really hit that spot and made you really feel in this chapter. So I do want to say, before I even get into anything else, bravo Yuki Tabata, you did a really good job with this chapter. With that being said, let's get into it. So we basically find out a few things. Number one, demons, the rank is essentially established at the point of birth. And once they're born and the rank is established, they basically don't have anything to do, so they're really bored. So they pick on the weak, and the anti-magic demon, essentially being born with no mana and low status, was picked on a lot, and we see him being bullied by the bigger demons, and he's a little kid. And one of the bigger demons throws him through the gate, I guess, and he was expecting to die, and it basically ends up on Earth. So he has no mana, he's low, which makes sense because the other demons didn't really know him. So he doesn't have any notable name, and he essentially ends up on Earth. And this really shows you the parallels between humans and demons, because basically people pick on the weak when they're bored. The bullies, essentially, whether you're human, you're demon, is exactly the same. This is kind of further emphasized when even when he was on Earth, he's basically, based on Scanlation translation, says he doesn't really have any hate or malice for humans, but they didn't like him either, even though he didn't do anything to them. And they, because of the way he looks, they basically called the Magic Knights after him. They attacked him, and he barely survived and collapsed. Again, this is to do with prejudices and stereotyping and, you know, judging you based on the way you look rather than who you are, and that is human nature, and unfortunately it is quite common. And the fact that it's addressed here really shows that even in this world it's not much different than ours. And he again was picked on for no reason. He was just being picked on for being alive and for being different, which is really wrong. But then when he woke up, he met somebody, and that somebody was Lichita. Again, this is based on Scanlation, so that the name may be adjusted in the official release on Sunday, and I will address that if need be the following chapter review for 269. Lichita basically mentions a few things. Number one, she has some type of curse or something with her body. Her body basically absorbs mana and life force, so she has to live alone. And also, her ability or her magic is to store things to be brought out later. These are very key. She also says that she's not scared of him, because one, he's a kid. Two, he's a kid with no mana, and just because you look bad doesn't necessarily mean you are. And this starts a wonderful short experience between Anti-Magic Demon and Lichita, and she refers to him as Ribe or Ribe, depending on translations. Again, if the name gets confirmed next translation, we'll see how much different it is, and I'll address it. And we see like different panels of them having experiences together, and really is a mother and son relationship, which is quite cute, but unfortunately it was cut short. And there's a part that he basically wants to say mother, and he starts getting possessed, and he goes, I am Lucifero. And basically Lucifero, the demon, was taking over this child demon's body, because you need a contract to be on Earth with a human, and he hadn't. He'd just been pushed through the gate, and his plans was to use him to take over Earth, or to be set free onto Earth, so he could use his whole body, which I'm assuming this is what they're doing now. Unfortunately, in this whole situation, the mother tries to help Lucifero and absorbs some of his magic, which in the process of doing so, really basically kills Lichita, and Lichita gets essentially a hole put through her, which is why when we see that flashback, we see that it's her chest bleeding out because of this, and she says to the demon, "Oh my son," not to Asta, to the demon. So the memory was the demon. I was correct in that assumption. It was his memory. It was the flashback for him. It was him raging at Lucifero, and this is the reason why he basically took her away from him. And the one thing that she could do to save her adopted son is basically seal him away in a anti-magic book, the 5-leaf clover book that she just happened to find. And in that flashback, we find a very important thing. She has a flashback of her basically, I'm assuming it's her putting something down which looks like a mosey basket or a basket. I'm assuming this is Asta. And by the translation, it's kind of like, "I'm not going to let him go again," which makes me believe that he was put there or abandoned for a reason. It's not really explained why, because if Asta was born without magic, it can't be because of the mother, because the mother would have taken his life force and the magic, if he had magic, and he would have died. Whereas if you think back to the fight with Zagred, he wasn't affected. He's basically a person born without magic, a fluke, a glitch, an anomaly, really. It doesn't say anything about his father, so his father could be anybody, really. It doesn't say that he's died. It does say that he's alone. She was alone, and that's it. So there are key things here. One, we know that was potentially Asta's mother. Now we know that these were the anti-magic demons flashbacks. We know he hates his goats. We know why he was sealed. And at the end of the chapter, he goes, "I will kill them all, even if I have to take your body." It's an emotional ending to the chapter, but it does bring up a few questions. Now we know the timeline. We know this basically happened after Asta was abandoned, so it does give us an idea that it was at least 15 years ago, possibly sooner. It doesn't have to necessarily involve Dante, because essentially he doesn't even have to tell Dante he's on Earth. He can do what he wants, really, because not all of Lucifero is in Dante, only up to 80%, I believe. And the fact that he didn't mention knowing this demon, he could have been lying, or he just genuinely forgot. It isn't really made clear. Or he could have been really just essentially planning this the whole time and just basically lying to Dante as well. It obviously makes Asta and the demon brothers, potentially older brother, younger brother situation, so that's interesting. What it doesn't do, though, it doesn't explain, one, how she got that clover, 5-leaf clover, because that could be fate entwining them. It could also be something to do with Lich and being the whole ancestor thing, because the person mentioned that Lich plus Tessia equals Lichia. Laquisha, I don't know what the actual translation is going to be, but yeah, so her being an ancestor and by fate going to him and all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't explain how he got back as well, because if he's sealed, she's dead, I'm assuming, how does he go from the Spade Kingdom to the Clover Kingdom, gets put in a tower, and then nobody knows about it? All these things are interesting, because the thing is with the story, one thing you've got to bear in mind is the information we're provided by people that are there. Oh, this has been locked up for many thousands of years, hundreds of years, whatever. This is one person's point of view, so that necessarily can be changed. That isn't a problem. But I really want to know how the book got from here to Tower before it got given to Asta. How long it was there, I'm not bothered about. That can be retconned as much as you like. I just want to know how it got there. That being said, emotional chapter. Asta and demon brothers confirmed, maybe. But there's a big parallel. They're both born without magic, both bullied, both looked down upon, both essentially orphans now. And there's going to be a hell to pay. Asta, anti-demon, taking down Dante and Lucifero. Noella taking down Vanica. And Yuno taking down Xenon. That being said, thank you very much. I can't wait for the next chapter. This week's going to be long. I will post links on the relevant places. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Peace.